Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Christine Hull. I'm the founder of the 100 Women, of the MAWB Network. Today is the second Tuesday of the month, and that means Lunch and Learn. We're so delighted to have Hilda Rodgers here with us. Hilda has actually presented previously on a similar topic, and with 19 registrants and many others interested in this topic, it is hot. So welcome everyone. If you haven't had a chance to, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box, a little bit about you and what your business is, and one link. If anyone sees anything they like, then certainly they can follow up with you. So our agenda today is welcome and introductions. The introductions are just in the chat box. We don't have time, unfortunately, to go around to every single person. Before I hand it over to Hilda, I do want to share some upcoming events with you. I'll introduce Hilda and then she will take it away. Hilda, I just want to let you know that I have a call coming in from the school at 12:25. So I'm going to skip out for about 20 minutes to take that call.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And I know you'll all be in good hands with Hilda. I don't need to be here. All right. So let me go to the next slide. Today's session is Decluttering Your Life, Declutters Your Brain. And in this session, Hilda will explore the powerful connection between physical space and mental well-being. She's going to share some practical strategies to tackle clutter, improve our productivity, and create a more peaceful environment. Some of you may have worked with Hilda or have seen her work online, or perhaps you've been at a MAWB event and you've seen her books. She's also a brand new author with her decluttering book. I had it here a moment ago. I must have taken it to the other room. I'll show you that if you don't already have a copy. She's a trained professional organizer. She helps busy women declutter and organize their spaces, and that allows them to free up their time to do the things that they love the most. So Hilda's going to take over in just 1 minute. Before we get to Hilda, I just want to let everyone know, and for the ladies who are new, that the MAWB runs 4 events per month, some online, some in person. All of our events can be found at mawb.ca/events. And I wanted to just take a quick moment to share some of the upcoming events. We offer training and networking opportunities. On April the 16th, we have a LinkedIn course. It's a hands-on 3-hour session called Getting Started with LinkedIn, Your First Steps to Success. It is on the website. Check it out if you want to see the things that will be covered during that course. Of course, one of the favorites every month is the MAWB networking event, the MAWB meetup that we host in the morning at the Meadowvale Community Center. This month, we have Carla Smith, life coach, who's going to be talking to us about techniques and strategies to help us deal with stress in our lives and reduce or eliminate that. And then we also have 3 wonderful spotlights. We have Shalini there, Shalina, pardon me, from Boutique Basket. So just in time for Mother's Day, she's going to bring in some samples of her gorgeous gift baskets. We have Vinny, who also does gift baskets, but Vinny's coming with her succulents hat on. Those adorable succulents that she designs, the plants, in the cutest little pots. So she'll be there. And oh my goodness, who's our third before the end? I'll tell. Oh yes, Brainful Bites. It is a lady who has recently switched careers and is making snacks and breads and cupcakes and cookies, all like vegan and dairy free and nut free and everything free to help those of us that might have some food sensitivities. And she's going to have samples, but she's also going to have some packages there. Again, some Mother's Day gift ideas for you. Oh, something went wrong. What does that mean? Let me hit escape. Sorry, stop the share. Something happened there. Let me start that again. And return to editor. Okay. I will turn it off. And we also have our online speed networking event that happens at the end of the month. It's the last week of the month. For anyone in the group who is a directory member, Elevate and Empower members, you can attend this event for free. So it's a 90-minute fast-paced session where you leave with 5 to 7 new contacts. Okay, so Hilda, take it away. I'm actually going to make sure to share the screen because you have a presentation. So I'm going to make you co-host.
Yep.
Okay, Hilda, do you have the co-host capabilities?
A second.
Actually, before she shares her screen with us, can we just do a quick photo? If anybody wants to be in the picture, you can come off of, turn on your camera for a moment and show us your beautiful smile. We'll take a quick photo. Oh, hi, Ritu, Kathy. Okay. All right. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, and smile. Excellent. Thank you so much. All right, Hilda, take it away.
Okay. Sorry, I shrunk you. Trying to find what I was doing.
I've been having troubles finding my Zoom screen lately too. Thanks, Hilda.
Okay. There we go. Can you see my slides? There we go. Putting in presenter mode. Is that good? Okay. So I'm not going to look at the chat till later, but if people have questions as we're going through things, feel free to type questions in the chat. And we'll have some time at the end where we can go through those. But yeah, so thank you for coming today. I do appreciate you spending some time out of your busy day to network with each other a little bit and to learn a little bit about decluttering and mental health. Just a quick overview. Christine gave already a bit of a bio, but I always like to share a little bit of my journey of how I became a professional organizer. I had in a previous life had a very busy very demanding work situation that I was in, and my husband was home with our kids. He was great with our kids, but clutter built up in our home over time. And when I was laid off from that job and searching for a new job, I took the time to really declutter and overhaul our entire house. And through the process, I realized how much clutter had been weighing on me over the years and affected our lives. And so as I was decluttering and organizing, it felt so free and lighter, and like everything was improving in my productivity and how I felt in my home. And I loved it so much. I just thought, you know what, I want to just do this as a business. I don't want to find another job and work for somebody else for long days. I want to do this and help other people experience the same feeling. So that's how I got started. That was 11 years ago. And I love what I do. I love helping people just experience more freedom by letting go of things. So I do get it. I understand what it's like to live in a cluttered house. I always say I was basically my first client. So it reassures people that I'm not coming in from like this perfect family, perfect house, perfect everything. We live here and it gets messy at times, but we limited the volume of stuff in our home enough that it's easier to tidy when we know people are coming or things like that. So and Christine mentioned my book. I'm going to be giving away a few of these at the end. And you also can have, I'll have a link where you can order it, but it's not a book for somebody who needs to do a ton of decluttering and needs a lot of help to do it. It's more of a DIY guide for people who have done some already or are just getting started and need some tips and some inspiration and stuff like that. But it's not a replacement for people who actually need hands-on help. So I just want to quickly ask before we get started, like, why are you here today? If anybody's willing to kind of just share a little bit about why they thought this topic was important for them to spend time learning about, and any specific challenges that you to share in terms of clutter and mental health in your life or in the life of anybody that you know. We could just take a minute or two and feel free to unmute and share briefly about your decluttering and mental health link.
Sure. I'm happy to share. My name is Ritu, and I have two teenagers at home, and I feel like clothes are endless in my house, and most of them are outgrown. And I have one room that's a bed full of just laundry, and another one that's just donation stuff. So it accumulates so fast you don't even realize, and great time of year to get started with that.
For sure. Anyone else?
I'd like to share as well. Glynis, I have got
Yeah.
two boys as well, not teenagers anymore, they're in their 20s, but I find that I do a really good job of decluttering, and then finally, before I know it, it piles up again. So, how do I maintain that decluttered, nice environment that I created and spend so much time? That's what I'm interested in. Not really so much decluttering, but how to maintain that declutter. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have time at the end and I can address that a little bit. It's part of the presentation a little bit, but if you've already done a lot of the decluttering, the tips probably won't help you as much, but remind me at the end and I'll definitely share some ideas for you for maintaining. Anyone else?
Well, Hilda, I'm in a relationship with a wonderful man. However, he has his house and I have mine because there's no way I can move into his house because it is such a decluttered mess. I actually feel very claustrophobic in his house. He's very intelligent. He knows the value of things and he loves to collect things. He loves the history of things and so on. He loves to surround himself with things. And I don't want to take that away from him. I would like to find a way to not impact our relationship in any way.
Yeah.
Still move forward in a gentle way to encourage him to maybe he doesn't need to hang on to so much stuff. And if he wants me to move in, he's got to find room for me because right now there's no room for me.
Yeah. All right. That's also probably not a thing that's going to come up generally in this conversation today, but I'd be happy to chat with you more about that. It is quite common for one person in a relationship, even in a family, like in a home or whatever, already united, for one person to be more interested in clutter, I would say, and happier to have things around them, and one person to want things to be less cluttered and more organized and easier to maintain, and that's quite common. So there are some things that I try to do with families to get everybody on the same page. So maybe we can chat separately about that at some point. But it's definitely a struggle for sure for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thanks, Hilda.
All right, we have time for maybe one or two more if anybody else wants to share.
Yeah, Hilda.
For me, it's Morella. For me, I'm more of well, I'm in the service space as a realtor. So for me, it's wanting just to help clients, right? And because it's very rare that you go into a home where you can say, oh yeah, we can list your house next week, right? So it's always nice to be able to provide them with tips of what they can do, and that if they are in a position to hire somebody, then Hilda, you're my go-to person, right? So I just love to be able to help and obviously service and be able to give them ideas. And so I'm a lifelong learner, and so here I am as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Marilla. That's one of the times when you find out how much stuff you really have when you're moving, because you have to literally go through everything in your house at some point.
That's what I'm doing right now. And I had a car accident. Somebody hit me on the highway and I sustained a brain injury. And just small decisions kind of overwhelm me. So it's almost like I have an ADHD brain now. And the typical organizing styles were not working.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll be sharing kind of why things may not work for some people that work for others. So that's what I'm hoping to learn more from you.
Perfect. So we'll get to some of that today for sure. And I'm also happy to chat with you separately about some more specific things that we can do for ADHD or brain injuries to help make it a little bit easier for you.
Thanks, Hilda.
Great. Okay. Anyone else, or I probably should move on. If there's more, you can ask. Yep. Sorry. Go ahead. Desiree?
Yes. Hi. I wasn't sure if my microphone is on, but I just wanted to know, is there, I do want to get some tips from you on like how to, I guess, organize your wardrobe, like, you can, that piles up so much. I mean, not just, of course, your kids and everything like that, but yourself too as well. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, which ones do you want to really let go of and which ones you should keep? And not only that, sorry, wardrobe and your files, our files.
Yeah.
I mean, I yes, we can actually keep files on our laptop, but at the same time, there's still other stuff that you're like, okay, should I keep this or what should I do? I find it very overwhelming sometimes on what to keep anymore and what to let go of.
Yeah, that's a tough thing. For clothing is big for a lot of people, and also paperwork is a challenge for many people. So both digital and physical paperwork. So yeah, I'll try to get to that a little bit at the end as well. I'm not focusing so much on organizing and decluttering specific spaces in this session. It's more general than that, but I've got links to some other resources that I can send you for some of those spaces as well, or we can chat afterwards. Okay, I'm going to move on because at times we're getting late already. So that's, if you have questions, type them in the chat and we'll get to them at the end. So I want to start out with just a general definition of clutter. Generally speaking, clutter is items that you don't need, that you don't use, that you don't love, or probably most importantly, that you don't have space for in your home. Visually, that may also just be items that don't really have a specific place that they belong in your home. And so things tend to pile up in different places, and that can also it can add to a cluttered feeling in your home. This picture is a client of mine. This is her basement. It was very, very full. This is mostly stuff that was there from her husband who had passed away. And she wanted to downsize from the home that she'd lived in for 40 years and raised her family in. And there was no way that she could tackle all of this herself. And so it took a long time. This was a big job. My team and I worked with her multiple days to clear out this basement. I'll show you the after picture at the end of this presentation, but it's vastly different. So your spaces may not look quite as bad as this, or maybe they do, but there's hope. That's what I want to say, is that don't let that overwhelm you. There's hope to be able to let go of things and create more space in your home. So I'm going to share for the next couple of minutes just a bunch of links between clutter and mental health. I posted them in the chat earlier, and I have a handout that I'm going to, Christine will send out with the follow-up email that has all of these links. So we're not going to look at all of them now, but I just wanted you to understand, so I'm not a mental health professional. I'm a professional organizer. So I don't have any leg to stand on in terms of all the background and training that a mental health professional would have on the links between clutter and mental health. What I have is 11 years of experience, plus my own life, and working with people who struggle with clutter, but also struggle with their mental health. And what I have seen is the difference that focusing on decluttering can make on improving their mental health. So I want to share resources from people who know more about this than I do, and studies and all those kind of things, because that's not who I am. And decluttering with a professional organizer shouldn't replace, if you have a therapist who's working with you on your mental health, decluttering with an organizer should be kind of in tandem with that, but not instead of. The mental health side of things is still very important to be treated, but decluttering can make a big difference. So this is an example. This is actually fairly recent. Sanjay Gupta from CNN did a little, I guess, a podcast or something about why your brain loves an organized space. It's very good. If you have a chance, listen to it, because it has some good tips. There was a guest as well that shared a method that I actually hadn't heard of before. I've read and researched a lot about decluttering, but I hadn't heard this method. She called it the 5 things method. And I'm actually quite intrigued by it. It's similar to things that I've done with clients, but I hadn't called it the 5 things method before. So learn something new every day. So I encourage you to listen to that if you can. It's not very long. Here's a few other links that I've shared over the years, and I looked a bit recently to find some more recent links. The CAMH one is older, it's 2019, but I looked on their website just yesterday, and they actually don't have anything more recent on there about decluttering and mental health. And this is quite a good article, so I wanted to make sure I included some Canadian content there. The rest is all, I think, US based, but there's some more recent, the last three there are more recent studies or articles based on studies, and a lot of them were done after the COVID lockdowns. And that was just a really big shift for a lot of people in terms of you're spending more time at home, and we all became a lot more aware of how much stuff we have in our homes during that lockdown phase. And so it definitely affected people's mental health during that time for a variety of reasons, not just because of clutter, but clutter certainly didn't help. And so I was interested to read some of these new articles that were written post-pandemic. So you can take a look at those as well. The Institute for Challenging Disorganization is one that I'm a subscriber of them, and I've taken a lot of training from them. They have some very good resources on clutter, decluttering, for a variety of different. So challenging disorganization incorporates a variety of different brain things. So things like ADHD, acquired brain injury, aging, anxiety, like a variety of different things all compose challenging disorganization.
Oh, you were asleep. Andrea looked like you were asleep.
I was at one point.
Because you have a 1 o'clock and it's 12:25.
Yeah, I already said I can't.
Can you mute, please, whoever's talking? I can hear noises. Thank you. Yeah, so I've linked these two things. The clutter hoarding scale, actually I'm just going to click on this so you can see it. There's this great guide here. It's hard to read because it's small, but you can download it. It's a good guide. It basically has 5 different areas of your life where clutter may be affecting your life, and 5 different degrees of severity. And it's a great little guide to be able to tell where you may fall, or someone that you know where they may fall in terms of clutter and how much help they may need. Let me go back to, how do I go back? Where's my presentation now? Sorry, 1 second. All right, I won't click any more links. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. I won't click any more links. I forgot that it takes me out. I can't get back again. Okay, anyway, so that you can look at those links afterwards. The quality of life scale has questions that you can answer, and based on your answers, it will tell you where you fall in terms of how much clutter is affecting your quality of life. So these are both great links that you can take a look at after. And this one is a clutter image rating, and there's different rooms in the house that they have these for. There's a link that I've also included. Basically, this is a living room, and it shows it at different levels of clutter from 1 to 9. And it's kind of a visual way of you being able to look at your space and say, okay, I fall on about, a 3 or a 6 or whatever. And that can help you communicate with other people in terms of how much help you may or may not need for decluttering, or how much it may be affecting your mental health. Because obviously the more severe the clutter, the more it's going to impact your mental health and your life. Okay, so let's just talk briefly then about some ways that clutter can affect your mental health. One of the most common ones is stress. Having a lot of clutter around can definitely increase your stress level. If you can't find things, you can't find your keys in the morning when you're leaving because everything got piled on top of them after you came home, or you can't find your purse, or you buy things extra because you can't find them. All of these things just lead to increased stress in your life, and that can affect your mental health for sure. Difficulty focusing is a big one. And this was actually one of the things that I found made the biggest difference for me in my life when I decluttered, was I was able to focus so much better. Our brains can only take in so much at a time. And if part of your brain is constantly seeing things around you, it's much harder for you to focus on the task that you're trying to focus on. So decluttering can help alleviate that and give you better focus. Isolation and embarrassment are huge ones. I often have clients that say, like, I haven't had people in my house for years because I'm too embarrassed by the volume of clutter that I have. And even for myself, we didn't have birthday parties for my kids in our home when they were younger because I was embarrassed by the volume of clutter that we had. And so we would, go to other people's homes, or we would go out to different birthday party venues and things like that. And it felt so good when I finally had done enough decluttering that we were able to have a birthday party at our house. That was, for me, a sign of I had done this, like we had made progress, and that was exciting. But for a lot of people, clutter is very isolating, and that obviously is very connected to your mental health. Difficulty sleeping is another one. If your bedroom is cluttered with a lot of stuff, or if you are constantly thinking about things that are built up in your house, it gives you a lot less ability to sleep well, and then rest, obviously, and having having good sleep can also improve your mental health. And if you're not sleeping well, it can make it harder for you to function in everyday life. So being able to declutter your bedroom and other parts of your home can really impact your sleeping ability, which is very important. And these pictures were from a client related to an inability to do hobbies. And so for a lot of people, doing hobbies, crafts, or collecting a certain kind of thing, not collecting clutter, but like maybe stamp collecting, or different things like that, artworks, different things. Those are things that often help relieve stress, help you feel like you have a higher quality of mental health if you can spend time doing things that you love doing. But when you have too much clutter and your space doesn't function how you want it to function, you just end up not doing those hobbies. And so in this case, this lady has this beautiful craft room, but it was so cluttered. Things had just been dumped over the years, and every time she thought about trying to do something there, she's like, well, I can't, because there's no space. I can't find what I need. I can't work without having to do a lot of cleaning up first, and that was just too draining. And so it just got worse instead of better. But we went in, we worked with her. She decluttered a lot of things. She relocated things that didn't belong in this space. And she ended up with this beautiful craft room. The table was empty. The surfaces were empty. She was able to find things in the cabinets. And this was actually just prior to the pandemic that we did this craft room. And throughout the pandemic, she kept sending me messages saying, like, I can't believe it. Like, I'm so glad we did this when we did, because now, like, we're doing crafts in our craft room while we're home during lockdown. So that was really rewarding to know that it had made a very tangible impact on her life, and that was helping her whole family with their mental health through the lockdowns. So these are just a few ways that clutter can affect your mental health. So let's move on then to actually, where do we start decluttering? So we know that it's important, but one of the most common questions that I get from my clients is, where do I start? Like, I just don't know, because there's so much. So that can be different for every person. It's not always, it's not always like one place that's the starting point for every person. Everything I do is customized because we're all different people. But these are some of the questions that I ask, and these are some things you can think about as ways to think about where you might want to start. So one thing is to think about, what is the space that you use every single day? And the clutter is impacting your ability to use that space. And so decluttering in that area would be something that would make a positive impact in your life. Another question to think about is, if there's a space that's causing you a lot of stress and frustration, then that might be a good place to start, because being able to make some progress in that area will help you feel better in your home. Another thing is to think about where you have total decision-making power. So like I was saying earlier with Lisa, like in families, there's lots of people who may have things all throughout your house. And it's hard for you, if you start in one place decluttering, but you can't make decisions over a number of the things in your house because they belong to other people. And you just run into like, I've got a pile for this person to think about and a pile for that person to think about. And you end up not really feeling you're making much progress. So to start out, it's really good to think,
Hilda.
oh, sorry. I don't know why. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can see and hear you.
Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know why. There's nobody here. So there should be no reason. Let me know if you need me to repeat something. Did you miss a bunch there or just a little bit?
It was a little bit.
Okay.
It's mine.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, so just finding a place where you have total decision-making power is a really good place to start because you will feel better about the space that you tackle with your items. So whatever space that might be, it might be your closet, it might be the living room or dining room or kitchen or something, but ideally look for some place where you can make all the decisions and not have a lot of things that you have to refer to other people for. Also, definitely don't start with sentimental items. So think about a place where you know it's all fairly easy things to think about and make decisions on, because as you're starting out, you want to see success. You don't want to be tackling the hardest things and get frustrated and then just end up giving up and not going any further. And then related to that is if there's a space in your home with things that you haven't used for a while, that's often a very good starting place. So I'm going to just show a couple of examples. This was one client, and this is where we started with her. This is like a fairly large basement closet where she stored a whole variety of things. There was off-season clothing, there was household items like paint cans and stuff like that. There was some sentimental items mixed in here, but they weren't going anywhere. They just got removed, just got moved to different shelves. But it was just utility things like, your Costco Kleenex and toilet paper and things like that. But the picture on the left was the before, and she couldn't even really get at the coats at the back because there was so much on the floor that had built up. And so we pulled everything out. We kept a bunch of things, but she decluttered enough all the way around that the things that were staying are now easily accessible. We grouped things better by categories so that like all the coats were in one place, all the shoes were in place, all the household things were in another place. Like it was all grouped together and easy to access. And she's been able to maintain this for quite a while. So it just made it that much easier. But she felt this was a good place to start for all of the reasons that we talked about in the previous slide. This is a storage room, and I often start, if people are doing their whole house, I often suggest we start with a storage room because a lot of times, like, there's boxes in there that you haven't even opened since your last move, or just things that you really don't use very often. There often are also sentimental items, and so at this point, if you're starting there, we just set them aside and mark them sentimental, but and deal with them later. But dealing with all of the stuff that you don't use very often or haven't used in a long time, storage room is often a great place to be able to start. So you can let go a lot of those things and then create space for things from other areas in your house. So maybe you have things in your kitchen that you don't use regularly enough. And if you can create space in the storage room, you can move some of those things down into a kitchen overflow section or something like that. So this was a client when I didn't take a before picture, unfortunately, but I couldn't even get in here at the beginning because there was so much stuff and it was actually overflowing into the laundry room next door. And everything was just like you couldn't access anything. So we decluttered a ton of stuff. And then we moved back in the things that they really needed to keep in here. And there was some empty bins, an empty shelf for them to, as we moved into other areas of their home, that they were able to move things down here. So, so storage room might be another option for you to start. So there's a few tips now to help you for starting to declutter. Start small. So like, don't start with like, I'm going to declutter my whole basement this weekend. Like that's not realistic for most people. Start small, whatever that means for you. It might be, just a junk drawer or, your linen closet or your night table or something like that, bedside table. Start with something small because you'll see some progress and feel energized to keep going. Also focus on only one area at a time. So I don't know if you remember those kids' books, like if you give a mouse a cookie and if you give a moose a muffin or something, and like they do this and then they go here and then they go there and then they go somewhere else and they end up back where they started and not really having done anything. And sometimes it feels like that when you're decluttering, because as you're decluttering, you find things that really belong somewhere else. And then you go move there, and then you see more stuff and you start working there. And then you end up just not really getting much of anything done, and you feel discouraged and frustrated because you've done a lot, but you really haven't done much. So if you stay in one area and just set up like a box of these items need to be relocated, put that by the door. And then later, at another time, you can take that box and walk around your house and bring everything back where it belongs. But if you stay focused in one spot, you're going to have more results at the end of your time that you're decluttering, and you'll feel better about it. It's also important to maintain spaces. So if you've decluttered, say, your closet, it's important to try to maintain that space, because it keeps it keeps you feeling good about what you've done. Again, tying it into mental health, keeping something up is something that's going to inspire you, and then it may make you more motivated to tackle a different area and a different area, and over time you're going to see a lot of progress. Then also limiting what enters your home. That's a huge one, because sometimes we're not even aware of how much is coming into our home all the time. But basically, if you're trying to declutter, you don't want to have things coming in that you don't need. And if there are things you do need, you need to be letting go of other things to make space for those things. So when you're in the process of decluttering, often people talk about the 1 in, 1 out rule, but that works for once you're maintaining. So that's a good maintaining tip there for I forget who it was that asked about maintaining, but that's an important one. But when you're actually in the process of decluttering, it might be 1 in and like 3 out or 5 out to make space and make progress in what's happening in your house. I always encourage people to focus on the positive, because when we're decluttering, it can become a sense of loss, like I'm losing these things. I'm no longer going to have these things in my life. But if you're choosing to declutter, usually it's because there's a problem in your life that you're trying to fix by decluttering. And so focus on what you're going to gain. So things like, I'm going to feel lighter or more peaceful in my home if I let go of more things. I'm going to be able to focus better. I'm going to remember more. I'm going to be happier and I can have friends over. I'm going to sleep better. Like if you focus on whatever your pain point is and what you're going to gain by decluttering, it's going to help you to stay focused and more able to let go of things if you're constantly remembering the positive of what you're going to gain by doing this. A few more tips. Try to make it fun. So put on some music or give yourself little rewards every time you finish something. Do something to just kind of make it fun so it doesn't feel like a heavy chore, because then again, you're going to be more motivated to keep going. Also, I often encourage people to do a little bit every day. Sometimes we think we have to do this whole thing in, I have to find a time when I have a whole weekend free that I can just declutter everything. And realistically, like, we're busy people, we don't often have time for that. But it doesn't need to be that way. If you can do a little bit here and a little bit there every day, it adds up over time. I actually have had a decluttering group on Facebook for, I think it's going on 9 or 10 years. And the premise of it was 365 items in 365 days. So we were all letting go of 1 item per day, every day for a whole year. And by the end, you've let go of 365 items. Most people often give away more than 1, but it's a good baseline for being able to just know that you're making slow but steady progress. It does add up. And it's surprising how much of a difference that makes. Also, don't be too hard on yourself. So often we can feel a lot of guilt when and shame when we're decluttering. It's like, oh, why did I keep all this for so long? Why did I buy all these things? Why did I, just lots of questions that make us feel bad about ourselves. And that's not helpful. We can't change what we did in the past, but you're making a decision now to declutter and to move forward, and you're doing something positive. And so focus on that and just give yourself grace. For whatever reasons, things happened in your life and the clutter built up, but now you're making a change and you're doing something for the better. So focus on that as much as possible and don't be too hard on yourself. Definitely ask for help if you find it's too challenging to do on your own. A lot of people feel like I should be able to do this, and I get that from a lot. And sometimes if I'm working with one person in a family, the other person is saying, you know, this person should be able to do this themselves, and I don't know why we're paying somebody to help. And that's not helpful for the person who feels crappy enough about themselves that they haven't been able to do it. We're busy, and we're not living in the, you know, the 50s or whatever it was, where like everybody was a stay-at-home mom and they had time to stay on top of things. And we're in such a consumer driven society. Like there's constantly things we're buying and things that are entering our home, and we're not always letting go of things to make space for those. So we're busy. We can't always do everything. So if you can't do it yourself, ask for help. It might just even be a friend or a family member that can help you with some spaces. But if that's not possible, hire somebody like myself, or there's lots of organizers across Canada that we're all a little bit different in how we do things, but we're not there to judge, we're there to help. And sometimes family members can have a lot of negativity or emotional attachment to or emotions that get in the way of being able to listen to them in terms of guidance for decluttering. So having a third party that's not attached to any of your things, has no family drama attached to anything, that can just come in and be a support and ask you questions about what you're using and how often and why and things like that, that can help you make decisions that will help you achieve your goals. And then lastly, like I said, celebrate your successes. So that doesn't mean go out and buy something because you're trying to declutter, but you know, maybe you go out for a celebratory drink, or have a friend over and show off how much you've done, or you know, whatever that is for you, that's going to be something that rewards you for your hard work. And that can be big or small, whatever's going to motivate you to continue. It's really important to do that. And this picture, you probably don't even recognize this, but this is that basement that I showed at the beginning that was full of stuff and you could hardly walk through the little pathways. This lady let go of probably 90% of what was in her basement. And what's left is some sentimental things and some things for her grown children that she's storing for now until they can come and get them. But she was amazing. She let go of so much stuff. And not everyone's going to do this much, but it was just really an honor and a pleasure to be part of her journey and to see how much she was able to let go of. And her vision was, this is the past and I'm not going to live in the past. I want to have an easy to maintain home. She hated going to this basement. Like she had to go down here to do laundry and to get, you know, things like light bulbs and stuff like that. But she hated every time she went down there. She's like, she was actually starting to get like quite anxious going into the basement. And so now she was like, oh, this is great. I don't have to feel so stressed and anxious when I'm going downstairs. I don't have to worry about tripping over things. I don't have to worry about if there was a fire in the house, that all of this stuff would like make everything go up faster. And so she had a whole variety of reasons, but it really helped her to be able to feel better about her home. There's also it had some water damage, and so there was things that were affecting her health physically, and she was able to breathe a lot better after this. So it was worth it for her to go through all the effort, and made a huge difference for her physically and mentally. That's the end of the tips that I have. I do want to give some time now for questions. I would like to offer 3 copies of my book for people who are on the call now. And so we can do that. I don't know if Christine's back yet or not, but she said she could put the names in of the people who are here. And then I'll drop them off to you if you're in Mississauga, or I'll mail them to you if you're outside Mississauga.
I'm back. I'll go set up the wheel.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, great. And then also I wanted to mention that I'm happy to do a free assessment for anybody who was here for this webinar or listening to the recording later. I can come to your house if you're local to Mississauga, and we can just, you can show me what you're struggling with and what your challenges are, and we can talk about some options, some solutions. We can put a DIY plan together for you, or we can, you know, talk about whether there's help that you would potentially need from me or from somebody else. But I'm happy. Normally I charge $125 for an assessment, and people get that feedback if they hire me, but I'm willing to do this, just no strings attached, for anybody who's listening to this. So just contact me, let me know that you're at this webinar, and we can set up a free assessment. If you're outside of my service area, we could do it virtually, and you can show me around your house that way. I do quite a bit of virtual organizing as well. So why don't we open it up to questions? I can't actually, can I see the chat? I can see the chat. Right, let me just scroll through and see what's in there. But feel free to unmute and ask me questions as well to clarify anything that I said or to customize any of what I said to your situation. Yes, Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, very popular book by Marie Kondo.
What are your tips for dealing with sentimental? That seems
actually
to
writing
be
a
a
book on
huge
that.
hang up for people.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's very challenging because it's special, right? And it's hard for people to let go of things that are special to them, whether it's a reminder of other people, if they inherited things, or a reminder of like an event they went to, or a vacation, or things from when their kids were younger, or when they were younger themselves. There's a lot of emotion attached to sentimental items. So, but what I try to encourage people to do is, if all of that stuff is boxed up in your basement collecting dust, not really bringing honor to those memories. So if it's possible, I encourage people to try to find ways to actually use those items or incorporate them into their decor. Like maybe, if you inherited doilies or something as an example that your mom or your grandmother or somebody, crocheted and that was really special to them, maybe you put one of them in a frame on your wall so you could look at it and see it and remember that person, but you don't need to keep, the 25 doilies that you inherited, for example. Shadow boxes are also a great way to be able to like take souvenirs from a vacation that was special, or if your kids were really into, a sport or something, maybe you make a shadow box with a few special items related to the activity that they were involved in. It just depends on what the sentimental items are, but those are a few general strategies that I try to incorporate for people. Find a way to use it or enjoy it or display it so that it's not just collecting dust in a basement somewhere. But also, pictures can also bring back some of those same emotions. So taking photos of things and making like a photo album or photo book out of some of those special things, it brings back the same emotion to look at a picture as it does to hold the physical object for most people, not everybody, but for most people. And so, a book with some pictures is a lot less space in your home than all of the things that are stored. So there's just a few thoughts off the top of my head, but I have a whole series on my blog that goes into this, and I'm actually converting that series into another book about sentimental items. So, yeah.
Awesome. So I have just taken the registration list, which was everyone, and pasted it here. So just to save us time, if you're not on the call right now, you don't get a prize, right? This is for those individuals who showed up. I don't know if I'm seeing everyone or not on the call right now. I think there's 13 of us left. So shall I go ahead and click to spin?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think I'm on the list.
Do you want me to stop sharing so you can
Oh yeah, if you're still sharing.
Yeah,
stop.
Sorry. There we go.
I was wondering why I couldn't hear any volume.
Yeah.
It was spinning and then it just said yay. So Lisa is the first winner.
Lisa already has one of my books, but she
I
can give it to somebody.
I have someone I can pass one off to.
Yes, absolutely. And I can get that to you, no problem.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
All right. So I'm going to, I accidentally have Marilla on here twice. All right. I'm going to.
My name's not on the list, Christine.
Your name's not on the list?
Yeah, even I couldn't see my name.
Well, that's strange. Is that person's not here? Okay. Look at the list and tell me if your name is not on the list. Nina? Who else said that?
Me, Anjali.
Anjali. I think I got that right. Did I get that right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
anybody
there
else not
now.
on the list?
Now I can see.
Another
Thank you.
user. Yeah, I see your name, Helen.
Desiree, Laura couldn't make it. Glennis, well, let's give Glennis a chance. Hilda, let's take her off.
You can take me off.
Mary, I don't think I saw Mary on the call. Okay, Marilla, Kathy, Helen, Lindsay, not on the call, but wants the recording. Ritu, Valerie's here. Janice wants the recording. Susie, I don't think I saw Susie. Lori.
Yulia is not on there. Is that how you pronounce that? Sorry.
No problem. We will add her right now.
And who's iPhone 2?
Who's iPhone 2? I don't know. I'll just put iPhone 2.
Okay.
That person can. Okay, are we ready? 2 more chances, people. Here we go. No.
Marilla.
That must have been just a hair over the line. Awesome. I'll remove. And one more time. Hey, there it was to happen. All right. So those are our 3 winners.
Okay. So if each of you could just text me or email me your address, then I'll make sure that I get your book to you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Hilda.
You're welcome. And if you want to order it, I had the QR code on the screen earlier. I can put that back up in a minute. Sure. Just take a look through the comments. Was there any other questions? Shadowbox honoring our 2 cats. That's so nice. I love that idea.
You were going to mention how to maintain a decluttered environment.
Right. Yeah. So the 1 in, 1 out that I mentioned, that's a huge one. So being very mindful of what's coming in your home is huge, because if you're not mindful of that, it's going to just keep piling back up again and you're going to be back where you started. So definitely keep an eye on what's coming in. Sometimes I've done a challenge. I've usually done it at Christmas time, but I called it the Net Zero Clutter Challenge, where we literally, a bunch of us, kept track on a piece of paper of what was entering our house and what was leaving our house. And the goal was by the end of the month to have 0, to have those 2 things even out. And every time we've done it, like I know for myself, the first time especially, I was completely unaware of the things that were coming in my house. So it's not counting like things like food, but because those change all the time. But like my kids were little the first time I did it, and like I'd forgotten how many things just come in the door with kids, like all the time. From birthday parties, they get a loot bag and it's got like, a bunch of little toys and things in it. And they bring home things from school, pictures and things, and what are you going to do with those? And yeah, so just being aware, as adults, we bring things in from, our jobs or our workplaces or our social activities, or, you win a prize at this event, or that maybe you didn't care about, then it becomes clutter if you don't deal with it, if you're not aware of all these things coming in your house. Even freebies, you go to, an event and they're handing out, bags as you come in with like freebie things. Deal with those right away. Don't just plop them somewhere and they just sit there. If you go through it and, okay, there's 2 or 3 things that you're actually going to do something with, then do something with those things. But if there's a bunch of things that don't bring any meaning to you, they're not things that you need in your home or in your life, then get rid of them right away. Donate it if it's a physical thing, or recycle it if it's like marketing materials or things like that. But yeah, like trade shows are full of clutter, and we're adults and we're drawn to like, I'm gonna get all the free stuff. But that free stuff isn't free if it's taking up space in your home and affecting your life. So just really being aware of what's entering your home is huge. And when you are buying things, be intentional about what you're buying, so that you're not adding to things. So think about, before you buy something, where is this going to go when I bring it home? Not just, oh, it was a great deal and I can't pass up a great deal. You have to think about, where's it going to go? And what do I maybe need to let go of to make space for this? So even for holidays and birthdays and things like that, like declutter before your birthday or right afterwards. So if you get a bunch of stuff, you've got space to put it in your home. I did this with my kids as well when they were younger, especially it was before Christmas and before their birthdays. We would go through their rooms and get rid of things they no longer, that didn't fit them anymore, or toys they'd had grown, or books they didn't care about anymore. And then when they did have to put away the new things they got for their birthday, there was space to put them. It wasn't just, oh, I have nowhere to put this and it's just a pile on my floor forever. So if you're shopping and you want to buy new outfits or new technology items or things like that, think ahead of time, where's it going to go, and if I need to, what will I let go of to make space for it? Those are the biggest tips I would say. Don't beware of what's coming in and be intentional about what you're choosing to buy.
I love the one in, one out. I practiced
Yeah.
that, started practicing that with my kids many years ago. And now I don't even have to say it anymore. They know.
Yeah.
You know what I find also really helps is find an organization or family that you feel really good about giving your things to. Because my kids will go hunting in their rooms like, oh, it's Hunter's birthday, or Memphis is turning 7, or he's starting to play baseball, and they'll go look in our basement storage area for things that they can give them. So that's one thing that has really helped me, is knowing it was going to someone.
I really love seeing the picture as well of the different stages of hoarding, because I thought I was much worse than I was. So being at a 2 and sometimes a 3 in certain spaces, that felt good, but it was enough to make it change, because 1 looks a whole lot better.
Yeah. And it's different for every person, right? Like some people don't mind having stuff around, maybe not excessive stuff, but even having the conversation between family members. Do you want to live in a 1? Do you want to live in a 3? Like what's your happy place that you can agree to? And it's just a tool for communication. But yeah, if it helps you feel better about your home, that's amazing.
Well, and I sent it to we have a texting thing called Fam Jam, so I'm curious what their input will be on it too.
Yeah, nice.
So it's a good start to a conversation, so thank you.
Good. I'm glad. Any last questions? I know we're at 1 o'clock now, but I'm happy to stay on and answer questions if people have them, or I forget now what some of the things I said I would come back to at the end. Sorry.
The clothes.
Clothes, right. Yeah, so clothes is a big one. I really encourage people to look at their space, so that like if your closet is constantly crammed together, like especially for hanging clothes, it's not comfortable to go in there in the morning and pick something out, because you have to like it's tight and everything's cluttered. So you want to ideally have a good number of clothes that fit your space. Same with your dresser drawers or whatever your clothing spaces are. If the stuff's always overflowing, then you have too much. So 2 things you can do. One is swap in and out the seasonal clothes. So like in the summer, pack up some of your winter things and store them somewhere else in your home, and swap that out, in the winter. If you have the space to do that, that's a great way to create more space without having to necessarily declutter too much. But also really look at, we tend to have, there's that 80-20 rule that gets used in a lot of places in life. We tend to really have our favorite clothes. We tend to wear 20% of our clothing 80% of the time, which means 80% of your clothing is just there taking up space and annoying you when you want to get dressed in the morning and you can't find what you're looking for. So, or when you're trying to put away your laundry or new purchases or whatever. So really think about what you wear. Keep the things that are your favorites. Keep a few things from that other 80% that I might need to wear this, to a funeral, or I might wear this on to a special party or whatever. But if you've got a lot of clothes that you're never wearing, or maybe they don't fit you anymore, or you're keeping them because your sizes are fluctuating, maybe keep some of the off-size clothing somewhere else as well, so that if you need it, it's there, but it's not taking up space in your daily clothing storage, so that your daily life can function better. Those are my big closet tips.
Thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. Yeah, lose the 10 pounds. Just being realistic is really important. I kept for a long time clothes that I was hoping I was going to fit into someday. And at some point I just had to be realistic that, you know what, if I ever actually get to that weight, I want to celebrate and buy myself some new clothes and not wear clothes that probably don't even fit the same way as they used to because your body changed, right? And so like during times in your life when you're really fluctuating, I think it's okay to keep some off-size clothes because you don't want to buy everything again. But if you've kind of been at the same size for a long time and you aren't actually realistically going to get to the goal size, let go of some of those goal clothes and maybe just keep one outfit or whatever. But yeah, like don't keep a ton of clothing that's just going to make you feel like crap all the time because you don't actually get to that size. That's just discouraging you and not uplifting you. And you want stuff that's going to make you feel good in your closet.
I had kept my maternity clothes for about 12 years. And in a basement, safely in a beautiful bin, just because I was so emotionally connected to them because they were such a special time in my life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're gone now, but
they're gone.
they're gone now, but yeah, I was like, I am never getting pregnant again, so these have to go.
Good for you. I find people similarly do that with baby clothes. They want to keep them, but
haven't got rid of a lot of those yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you how sentimental you are and how much space you have. But I mean, I know for me, I got a lot of clothes passed down from both sides of our family when I had babies, and those clothes didn't actually look good on my kids, or they were really outdated or old-fashioned, or they weren't comfortable, or they were faded, or like we didn't wear very many of them. So on my kids, so like I don't want to pass my kids' clothes down to their kids someday and have them in the same position. So I just knew I think I kept one or two things for each kid, but I have so many pictures of them wearing the clothes that I loved them wearing. So, or their favorites as they got older. And so I just figured there's enough people out there that need clothes and found good places to donate baby clothes where they couldn't afford to have as many baby clothes as my kids had. And that helped me let go of them. But it's a tricky one because that is a sentimental thing that's hard to get to. And I didn't do that right away when I first started decluttering my home. It was probably one of the last things that I let go of. Wedding dresses are the same. People have a hard time letting go of the wedding dress. And that depends on your space. If you've got space to store it and you don't mind that box or hanging in the back of your closet or whatever, then that's fine. Personally, I moved it around so many places in my home trying to find the right spot for it. And I was like, you know what? I got a lot of pictures of that day. I'm never going to wear it. My daughter's not going to want to wear it. But I let it go.
Okay, I'll just end with, I still have mine in my closet, but funny enough, I actually did wear it again. I was in a play at the Living Room Center. My husband and I played bride and groom. And so we wore our wedding apparel again. This was probably about 7 years after we got married, but yeah, I'll never fit into it again.
Good for you. Yeah. I was never going to fit back in mine.
Awesome.
Yeah, and there's lots of charities too to donate those things too, and prom dresses and stuff like that too. Like there's lots of great organizations that give them to people that need them and can't afford them and stuff. So if you're thinking about it, get in touch with me and I can set you up with some places you can donate things if that helps.
That's awesome. Hilda, thank you so much. Ladies, I would highly recommend if you're struggling with your clutter, to take Hilda up on her offer of her 30-minute discovery chat or call, whether that is online and she can learn about you and then suggest a DIY strategy for you. Or if after that you still feel it's just way too overwhelming, definitely consider taking her up on her offer of her services. So congratulations to all of those who won books today. Please reach out to Hilda if you want a book so she can get it to you. And I will send the recording along with the links, all the resources she put in this chat. I've already copied them out into the email. And Hilda, if there was something else you wanted me to include, I can certainly do that. But if you could do it within the next 30 minutes, because I'd like to send this off and get it off my plate, or else a month goes by and I'm like, oh, did I not send that? All right.
All right. Okay. Thanks everybody for being here.
Awesome. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks everybody.